questions y'all have for him. Everyone should still have recording access, so we should be good to go. Just a reminder, please use the raise hand button if you have questions for Joe. With that said, if someone wants to start us off at the first one, the floor is open. You can go ahead, Stacy.
Hey, Joe. Stacey Dales with NFL Network. Hearing from Teddy this week, he said he's trying to get back to fundamentals. Where does that go awry for such a great quarterback? And what does that mean, heading into week 15 now against the Packers?
Well, I think, whenever you come off of a game that, you didn't, he'll be the first one that says he wasn't happy with his performance and how and how that game ended. And, you always, it's so easy to look at the big picture and things and look at certain throws and look at, you lose sight on just watching, the fundamentals and the footwork and the, your lower body mechanics and those things. And so that's something that we just all have to just stay on top of, on a consistent basis, throughout the season. Obviously week 14, you sit there and say, hey, should have even got to this point, but it's just something that, just throughout the game, just continuing to remind our players of, we get so caught up into the end of the season thinking that, it's more scheme and at the end of the day, it's still football and the fundamentals, and we can't lose sight of that at all times. And so just sticking with that and the players being intentional on their own half. And, I think we'll continue to make progress.
If I may quickly follow up as far as the Packers go, and thank you for that. Where does Darius Smith fall on the ledger of pass rushers? I feel like this guy is just continuously underrated, but I can only imagine for a coordinator what it's like to prepare for him.
Yeah. They have multiple pass rushers, and that's what's even scarier. But he's not underrated to us and to our offensive staff and, within the game planning process. And I think he's dynamic. He can rush with speed. He has power, they can move him around. He's been dynamic in, wherever place he's been. And so I remember going against him a few years ago. So it's definitely not easy to game plan for. And, we have to do our best to limit his production.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Let's go to Joe Person for the next question, followed by Mike Solarte.
Hey, Joe, we talked to Teddy about this a lot, but I don't know that we posed it to you directly. Just kind of the end of game situations and lack of success, kind of finishing some of those end of game drives. How do you guys sort of self-scout that to improve and kind of start getting a couple of those under your belt?
Yeah, I think, you're self-scouting. A lot of the situations are very different. I think you look at them and, you always have to, is it touchdown? Is it field goal? How many timeouts you have? Where's the ball and what do you have to get to? So at the end of the day, we've had opportunities to score touchdowns and, we just have to, when we're not getting, we've had opportunities to score touchdowns and kick field goals. And, our goal in every single week is to win the football game. And so when we're not winning the football game, then we have to evaluate what we're doing and kind of continue to go from there. But, obviously we get in those situations, we look forward to those situations. And I know they haven't been the results that we want, but, it's something that we want to be a part of. And, we got to make the most of it when we get those opportunities. My poker guy. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Coach, when I got a couple for you. First off, coming from LSU and all that you guys did offensively there last year, obviously college is different than the NFL, but has there been a sense of frustration that from just the output standpoint, like maybe why aren't we, why can't I get these guys to be as explosive or as consistent and I know it's not a professional frustration, but just from a offensive coordinator who wants to hang points and gain yards and that sort of thing, where do you fall on that?
Yeah, no, it's not something that I kind of look back and compare. I think they're completely different. I think to me, it's just a week to week thing and just finding ways to win the football game. And that's the most important thing. And it's not necessarily trying to say, hey, we have to go out and score 50 points. We have to score 20 points. It's trying to find ways to control the game. And so it's not a frustration. I want to win the football games. And so by any means, that's all that really matters to me. And so I'm not, comparing and sitting there and saying, hey, it was this at LSU. I'm trusting the process and knowing that it's a week to week, day to day thing.
And then following up on that, I'm unfamiliar with how often you've been or if you've ever been to Lambeau Field, and is there a mystique about that place to you, or is there anything special about it, or is it just, all right, we got to go, that's where we got to go this week and play?
Yeah, no, I did have an opportunity in 2017. We played a game up there, and it's impressive when you walk into that stadium, just knowing all the history that's been played there, and the things that the games and the players that have played on that field, But once I take my lap around the field and just kind of take it in, after that, it's just like we're back at high school and it's a football field, and we have to do our job, and so I'm excited about it.
Thanks.
Joe, are stadium steps going to be a thing in the 25-degree weather on Saturday?
I've gotten away from the stadium steps this year a little bit. I did, I think it was 2017. I did try running Lambeau, and that was not a fun one. I'm not gonna lie with that. So I don't know if it's the weather or if it's just necessarily the steps element this week for sure.
So what's your new tradition? You said taking a lap, or what's that look like?
No, my traditions are still the same. I still just kind of walk, just get my mind in the game. Now I'm just in less shape doing it.
All right, guys, we have time for a few more questions if there are any left. Go ahead, Alina.
Thanks. Hey, Joe. I was curious, Joe asked you about the end of game stuff, but I was curious, is there anything in particular that, I know you've moved on from last week, but what did you view as that 2-minute situation? What did you guys learn from that? Or were there communication issues? Just how did you view that situation at the end of last game?
Well, to me, the most important thing, I know we focus on third down and fourth down, but the first down, we have to do a better job at, success. And, like I always say, it's, I'm never going to throw a player under the bus and anything. It's when we're not having success, it's on me. And so, I have to do a better job at putting our players in position to have success on first down and get the drive going. And then we're not behind the chains and having to get a manageable ball to get into third and 8, and then having to go through those things. So, I think we focus on the third and fourth down calls, but to me, the first down and getting the drive going in 2-minute situation is the most important thing. And so, and that communication, and, I know we've talked with Coach Rule and Teddy this week. And so our communication, we're good to go. And, you hope you don't have to get into a 2-minute situations. Sometimes you look at it, you like the games you like to be in 4-minute situations more so than 2 minutes, but we'll be ready if it comes this week.
And then I was curious, you've been on the field for a few games now. Do you feel like you're very comfortable now and that the communication has been good with you on the field versus, in the box and all that?
Yeah, I love it. I love being down there with the guys and being able to communicate with them and get the emotion and their feelings and their thoughts. And it's just so much easier to walk over to the offensive lineman and talk to them about plays, talk to the running backs, receivers. You're there with Teddy, seeing the same things and not having to communicate and articulate it in a certain way. And so I love being. I'm kind of mad at myself that I haven't been down there before.
All right, let's go to Mike Solarte and then finish with Joe Person.
Coach, earlier you kind of addressed Smith and what he, the problem that he is, but is he the most disruptive force on that defense, or is there another guy, or is there another scheme or something that you've seen that makes them, tough to beat in terms of overall their defensive game?
Yeah, I know they're not brothers, but the Smith brothers. I mean, they're dynamic up front, and they do a good job. They've done a great job, building this defense. I was just looking at it compared to the defense that I've faced when I was there 2 years ago, and it's completely different. And I think they've done a great job. They got DBs that are that they can play in man coverage and make plays on the ball and find ways around the football, and they create pressure. And I think it's definitely a challenge. I think it's something that we look forward to, but we're going to get their best game and they're going to get ours.
Joe, we've talked about this with Matt, but the opportunity to get Christian back potentially, even if it's just for 2 games, is that worth it if for no other reason to kind of, you kind of get to see what all your pieces look like together as you kind of go into the off season and kind of evaluate what went wrong, what didn't, and kind of, even personnel.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, I every week I go into with the mindset that if we have Christian, and I look forward to. I know we've had him for 2.5 games this year. And so we all know what Christian McCaffrey brings to our football team and to our offense. And my mindset is if he's ready to go and he's ready to play, then, we look at it from a one game at a time standpoint. I'm not sitting here looking forward to the future or saying, hey, should we do this? Should we do that? We want to win every football game. And, when Christian's healthy, and he can go, I'm excited to have him out there.
All right, Joe, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.
We got a seat for you, Coach.